Is Bitcoin on the cusp of glory here, looking for a very large move to the upside? In this video, as always, I'm going to be giving you my analysis, what I am looking at next, and why I am looking at that next. We'll be searching, of course, always for those high probability trades. You all know me by now. I am a trader that loves. I will always be looking for those great short trades. But when we reach crucial, important support, of course, I'm going to be taking those longs. Right now, I am in a long trade on Bitcoin. I want to be talking you through that, where we can be looking for next. Over the next week of price action, I'll be focused primarily on, but taking into consideration, we are in September. September, historically speaking, is a very bearish month. And right now on Bitcoin, we are in a very bearish local downtrend. So if the stats of September are to play out, we are once again going to see another large move to the downside in September. But of course, we are not just focused on that one data point. We're going to bring in several different data points to give us our statistics, our probabilities, and our great trade setups. So I think you're going to absolutely not only learn on this video, you're going to absolutely love it, because what I'm going to be covering, you're not going to see anywhere else. So with that said, let's go over to what you're here for, and that is, of course, the charts. With my new glasses on, I am not a bot. Here we are with the glasses, which I've been doing extremely long hours on the charts. I've been loving the trades that we've had recently, but with that, got to protect the eyes, and we're coming back over to the charts. That's enough of that. But you know, I've not actually made a video here on YouTube, for around a week. But that is for two reasons. First of all, I've been every day inside of the Discord for the members, lots of streams, lots of content, lots of additions that we've been building. But on top of that, what I've done in my last few YouTube videos is, you know, all of that information was still relevant. I've been talking about the importance of that crucial, massive $107,000 to $108,000 zone of support, which really, truly for me has just been absolutely crucial. And if you follow over on X, you will know that I have been building a swing long trade quietly and patiently, building a swing long trade around that $107,000, $108,000 zone. The market has truly been spooked and bearish as we hit this support, and I'm just following along with the plan that I had. So you can see at the end of September, updating the champion members, filling orders on my swing long trade. We're at critical support, whole market's bearish. I had the plan to long, I'm following through on that long. Worst that happens is I get invalidated. You know, still in that long trade. So at the end of August, we were still in that long trade. Here at the start of September, of course, still in that long trade. And it's just one of those things that when you have a plan, because I had this plan to come down to around $107,500. This is our support zone that we would like to see hold. So we're waiting for price to come down to here. It's a crucial support zone that we're of course going to be looking to long. We of course, it's not of course, but we did also have Elliot wave targets to be dropping to around this $107,000, $108,000 zone, which will not invalidate the bullish count. So this count is still absolutely valid that we got going on here with a bigger, well, you could view this as a WXYXZ, or really simply now a bigger ABC, all part of the wave 4 here. Of course, which is leading us towards all new all-time highs. But we've got a few little things to cover here. But ultimately, the first thing that I would just want to emphasize is, you know, we came down to crucial support zone towards the end of August, followed along on the plan, longed end of August, and that leaves us where we are today with we're attempting to get a bit of a rise to the upside, but we're still on very early days, so this trade is very much still exposed, right? So let's first of all just start off. Let's bring it back a step and just remind you all very simply, the all-time high that we put in was based off of a very simple failed auction. So we had our all-time high from the middle of July, fast forwards to the middle of August, and we attempted to break out of all-time highs. We failed. That gives you a failed auction, a bearish setup for a short trade. And after that failed auction, it has simply been only down with strong bearish, you know, market structure, strength to the downside. And that then brought us down to around this $107,000, $108,000 zone, which was crucial for many reasons. We had previous range. When we view this previous range, this whole big range here, let me just hide. Yep. So if we just view the whole big range, so the previous range that we had going on, when this takes its time to load, we had the value area high of our previous range. So that is a crucial support level in its own. We then had a smaller mini range going on here. and we came into the point of control of this one. Again, when this takes its good old time to load. I love TradingView when it's a little bit slow, right? But anyway, this will load. Yeah, there we go. The point of control we also had there, as you can see, coming in at around $107,400-ish. Then we also had the uptrend anchored VWAP coming in here as well. So when we're talking about very, very important support zones, we had the bigger previous range value area high. We then had the mini range here, point of control. And then we had from the lows of April, the uptrend anchored VWAP. So this for me was just what, truly a crucial support. If this is lost, then yeah, absolutely, we can get a very, very, very large move to the downside, like a full crash on Bitcoin if that support is lost. So what happens when you get to those support? Well, the majority of the market is exactly that, spooks and bearish at that support. But this is what the importance of having these plans, so you do not get spooked, you do not get bearish, you do not short support, but you do the opposite and you long support. That then brings me on to what I want to talk you through very quickly here. I've done a post, on the 28th of August saying I'm going to create another live trading account. Showing all the trades fully transparent and honest with every single trade taken. I went on to, I felt this was a good comment, 25K. There was a lot of votes. You can see here, $25,000. So I started an account with just over, but on $25,000, starting officially here, $26,700, 0.247 Bitcoin. That was the account that I created, and it is the account that I am trading also in the World Series of Trading. So this has been running about a week. I'm on 14% currently, up, and this is the trading account where I'm building this swing long, so a little bit of profit as we've moved up over the past 15 or so minutes. But you can see, very honestly and transparently what I'm doing here, how I'm building it. The account growth is now, we're on 31,000. So this is just in a week from starting the, well, it's less than a week, right? Where we started the account at $26,000. The account now grown, well, of the $4,300 of profit, we're now sitting on a total account value of $31,000. So that's not bad, right? Not bad for a week of trading. And it's just, again, following the strong plan that I had. So with that said, that's the overview. And now we can explain what we're looking at next. I hope you fully have understood there why I entered the long. But now we're moving on to something a little bit more important. What are we looking at next? Well, I believe that we are in a very crucial little zone here. We have just hit into, well, of course, no longer naked anymore, but we've come into the previous week point of control, which was a naked point of control. You can see how that ever so, literally did time to high yesterday. But now we're attempting it 2, 3, 4 attempts of this high. So the more attempts that we test this level, the weaker it gets. I do not think it's a massive resistance anyway, by the way. But the reason why this zone of around $115,700 is a bigger resistance is because of the overall underlying market structure that is attempting to be held by the bears. So if we are saying to ourselves, well, price is making of course, here a high, here a low, here a lower high, here a lower low. And if the market structure is to remain bearish, right? The bears, they're going to be attempting to hold this zone as a resistance. Why? Because if we break up here and we flip 113.5 into support, that opens the doors, of course, for that full market structure change. So what we're doing now is just internal price action from the low of the move, of course, to the last lower high. All of this is, well, essentially at the moment is just going to be viewed as a larger range. We have the range high as resistance. We, of course, have the range low as support. And again, this is until proven otherwise. We can absolutely, of course, go from resistance to support. And then at one point, we're either going to break the range high, flip it to support for a bigger move to the upside. Or alternatively, of course, we break the range low, flip that to resistance, and then we get a much, much, much larger move to the downside because that breaks our crucial support. But again, I have got that crucial support marked out to around $106,000. So we can see another low here made. Really not a problem as long as we're really maintaining above that 106. I am fine with that. I do not have a super tight stop loss. And of course, when I'm awake, I do not have a hard stop loss anyway. But when I'm asleep, I place my stop losses, but I'm giving that space. So yeah, that's what I have got my eyes on at the moment. Primarily that market structure. But what I feel is a bigger, okay, well, there's two ways we can view this as understanding of probabilities. I do understand that the bears, they are going to want to maintain this weekly naked point of control or previous week point of control and a lower high, right? If I was a very big bear at this point, this is where I would be defending. I personally am not defending this. Of course, I am a player that will take short trades. Again, I had a very, very, very large short from the failed auction, held that all the way down, took profit actually towards the lower of the move. So, a pretty good trade. But what I'm saying here is this for me is not a level that I'm interested in defending as a bear. If I want to take a new big short trade, I'm actually going to be looking for this to move towards $114,000 to $115,000. That for me has a lot more interest. You've all seen how these previous range, value area lows, point of controls really are influential on the market. If we just kind of pull this and we say to ourselves, well, where's that value area low? It's coming in $113.8 thousand. So I don't really have the interest of trying to short here 111.4. I understand that the bigger, let's just say if you're a really big bear, then and you just super interested in trying to get the shorts. And I could understand how you could take the short trade. And this is the importance of trading. It's not just, oh, I'm only ever looking for longs. I'm only ever looking for shorts. And I think you too, if you want to actually make it in this market, you always have to understand both sides of the market. Okay, where's the next best long? Where's the next best? And the keyword there is best, high probability short. Would I class that really good, really, really nice, high probability short here at 111.5? It's a difficult one because I understand the importance of the market structure. I understand the importance of those bears wanting to hold this lower high. But is that enough? Is that enough for me to want to take the short here only off of this market structure? Well, for me, it's not enough. Okay, I want to see confluence. I want to see, a higher probability. And for me, that does come towards that value area low. So really towards 114 again to $115,000. That's where I would have a very high interest in shorts. Here where we are now, my interest is fairly low because I think we're only trading off of market structure, which I do not think is the best optimal short trade. There are many times where you could try and short this as the lower high and it will take out the high and then drop. I mean, you've even seen that in this trend, right? So if you were only focused on real simply looking at lower highs, well, look at this, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. If you were only focused on that, then what happened here? You came up, you took out a series of lower you took out a series of lower highs. You could have, if you didn't really understand market structure, got very bullish at this point because you're like, oh, we've taken out some market structure. But what happens is you need to flip that into a higher low and then break out. This is just a fake out of the highs. And then again, what happened? Another lower low, another lower high, another lower low. But you can see here, you cannot just be saying, well, I'm just going to take a short trade here, for example, because I'm going for a lower high. And it's just not a good strategy, hence why I do not use that as a strategy to trade. And so again, do I understand why someone could short here for a lower high? Again, I understand that, but do I feel it's a high probability, like good trade that I would take, that I would put my money on? No, 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 senor. No, I will not be doing that. I will be waiting for where I feel is a higher probability. And again, that is towards the value area low, 113.8, and then we got that big zone around $115,000. That is where my interest is very much sparked, and I would be very interested in a short trade. Again, if we then get reclaims of those levels, well, I either get stopped out the short or there is not an activation of a short, and again, we look for higher prices. Just as down here at support, well, I had my interest sparked in the longs. Well, I took the longs. But of course, if we had lost $106,000, well, I would be stopped out of those longs and I would simply look for lower prices. Okay, I think that's what's really nice about me doing this trading account here, that I'm going to be showing you each and every trade taken. So far, this is the one and only trade that has been taken since I created this account. This is the one and only trade I'm in. But what's going to be good about this is, there's going to be no hiding. There's no going to be, I'm going to show you every single trade taken. You can follow, you can understand. And, this is just showing you this is real. This is what we do. Of course, I'm going to be taking this in a very what's the word here? I'm going to be approaching this in a very realistic manner. You know, I'm not aiming to times 100 my account. I'm not aiming to you know, do these super unrealistic, super high leveraged trades, right? This is a times 5 leverage trade. So this is well within my risk. You know, I've gone times 5 leverage. So the account value was what, $26,000. This is a trade for 1.2 Bitcoin. So we're just over around there, just around that times 5 leverage zone. This is, again, was under risk management. I'm not shooting for the hills, but it is a very respectable gain. I don't think that there's any argument in that. And again, this is the account that I'm using in the World Series of Trading here on Bybit. But I will just say now, there is no way I'm attempting to try and win this competition, because we have to try and compete with like these, I think this is like Russian or something along these lines. Like, come on, I'm not going to be getting 6,000%. I already know how these teams are getting these high percentages, and it's extremely high gambling, and this is not something that we do at Chart Champions. So fortunately, I'm not going to be going for these types of games, but I am going to be going for something much more realistic that you can learn from, that you can replicate. You know, this is what we do day on day, week on week, month on month. And so far we're up 15% in a week, and you know, that is achievable. And that's a very, very, very good gain. Compound, it doesn't take long to turn in a very big account. Anyway, you can follow along with that. And one thing that I want to mention before we end, and this is something that, again, we've been working on in the background. We're always working and improving. And we have now added, by the way, quizzes to every single module on our website. So you can test your knowledge, get instant feedback, and know exactly what to study next. And Chart Champions is #1 for a reason. We are literally always improving, always adding additions. So now, for example, let's say you've come along here and every single one has a quiz. You can come into Quant Tower, do and understand your lessons, listen to your lessons, learn from them, and then you can test your knowledge with a quiz. So we have done quizzes for every single topic. They are multiple choice, and then of course when you get the answer wrong, you can understand why. It will link you to where you need to improve and learn to get the answer right. You then get achievements on top of this, so you can you get nice little achievement badges, and yeah, we're very happy with it. So yeah, we got quizzes, achievements, and now, by the way, Spanish subtitles. So you can follow along on the blog on our website, where of course we're always posting new blog articles, you know. So yeah, that's just to make you aware of that. And there is one final thing that I will do here before we end. And that, actually, there's two things I'll do before we end. We'll take a very quick look at Ethereum. But before that, I want to do this giveaway. So we're going to do another $1,000 giveaway here. So let me load that up for you. So this is our giveaway tool. Then I need to put in our user ID list. So we're going to put that file in here. We are now going to pick 2 winners for $500 each. If you have if you win and you've already won before, then we will do this giveaway again, just so it avoids like one person winning every single time, although unlikely with so many entries. Let's pick 2 winners anyway. 2 winners, $500 each. Another $1,000 given away on stream. Just make sure you've traded more than $1. Yes, you have. Congratulations, this guy. You've just won $500. Let's pick another winner. We have just given another $500 away to this guy. Make sure you've traded more than $1. Yes, you have. Congratulations. 2 winners, $500 each. Message customer service, and we will send you the $500 prize there each. So that's $1,000 given away. If you want to enter this giveaway, of course, you absolutely can. Via the Discord, you can come in here, giveaway, follow the steps. And by the way, we're going to open this up to more people for the next giveaway. So it's not only open to Bybit, but open to everybody. So stay tuned for that. And I said I will end then with a quick viewpoint on Ethereum. And Ethereum has been pulling back over the past week or so, right? Just over. And this is because, you know, I've been talking you through this. We came into a 1618 Fibonacci extension. So if this was our wave 1, 2, 3, it is normal and it is expected to get pullbacks from such Fibonacci extensions. So this for me is not really what I would class as a worry. I'm not worried about this, but we of course come into this zone. We traded above, now we're trading back down below, and it's all a bit of a magnet on this price. So I still believe that there is room to the upside on Ethereum. Again, I keep my eye on Ethereum BTC, but I trade Ethereum against Tether. And so for me, there is well, again, I am looking for further upside on Ethereum, but I would say where would be an interesting zone of support? Well, I have to correlate this with Bitcoin. So right now, would I take a long on Bitcoin at $111.5 thousand? Again, we've just moved into the weekly naked point of control, previous week point of control. Is that an ideal opportunity to long on Bitcoin? Again, I really hope you know the answer to this, but the answer is no, right? The longs were literally at the lows. Buy order, buy order, buy order. I was getting my longs filled at the lows. Would I be interested in longing here? No. Because why would I long after the move's already happening? I would long before the moves happen, again, while everybody is spooked and scared. Now people are starting to become a little bit bullish as we're moving up. So no, I would not long Bitcoin here. So that has to correlate a little bit to Ethereum. Would I long Ethereum here, knowing that Bitcoin, I wouldn't long? Well, my answer would be no. So again, you have to be in a position where you are willing to miss out. I understand Ethereum can pump right after this video, and that is fine. I do hold Ethereum longs from lower. Of course, not on this account, but on my main accounts, I do hold Ethereum longs. And so if I wanted to take a new long on Ethereum, I would be waiting actually for a pullback towards 3.6 to psychological 4,000. I think if you can get that as an opportunity here, that is just a very, very, very large opportunity. So this was not an Ethereum video, but it is just a quick thing to say. I do remain bullish on Ethereum. I do believe Ethereum can push higher, but unless you long to the wick low, you know, on the end of August, similar to when you would have had to long Bitcoin, I personally would then otherwise say I would wait for a subsequent move to the downside here. It's a little bit difficult, and again, I have to make a whole video on this really. So if you want a whole Ethereum analysis, smash those likes, give a comment down below, because this is a little bit more complex than what I'm going to cover in the next 30 seconds. But my viewpoint is I am bullish on Ethereum. Still, I still believe we can make new highs. I do believe we'll take out $5,000 Ethereum. So I am very much interested in longing the dips, but we have to take into consideration ETH BTC, which is actually reaching strong support, but correlating that with a good time to buy Ethereum Tether. With Bitcoin now already on its move up again, I still feel there's space for higher. But would I open a long trade at the very high of this rally? You all know me. My answer is always going to be no. Just as would I been taking shorts down here at support? My answer is always going to be no. I only long when price is going down. I only short when price is going up. So right now, what's happening? Price is going up. So the only trade I will take is a short, but I will only wait for a good short. And again, this for me is not a good short trade yet. Thus, I'm not going to take the short. And well, preference, of course, would be higher next. But again, price is moving up right now. Will I take a long right now? Well, the answer is right in front of you. Do you see any buy order here? No. My buy orders were at the very, very, very low of the move. Anyway, I digress. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you are going to enjoy trading along with me with this very transparent and honest account. Each and every trade will be shared. Currently up on this account, 14%. If you want to see more, you know where to get us anyway, chartchampions.com. I say thank you ever so much. Hope you've enjoyed everything that you need for education. We've got live trading, every single stream, live trade. I mean, live trading is amazing. You can see the theory in action. I mean, the P&L and the profits made on these live streams are just very, very, very high. I do not think there's any other trading group that's doing it like Chart Champions. We are just holding ourselves to a higher level of transparency, honesty, and just, I mean, no one else is doing this because no one else is actually making the real profits, right? There's a lot of fake trading groups out there. We're a step above the rest, not only of the live trading, but also with the improvements that we are doing each and every week. What you do not see, you know, what we're doing behind the scenes, we're always working, we're always improving, and that is for you at the end of the day. We want you to do well. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you ever so much. And yeah, now you know what I'm looking at for the next week of price action. Cheers, everybody. Thank you ever so much. And it's me signing out. Goodbye.